developing closeness, but that you, in your outer life, you're the same person, that creates more dissonance.
Well, it can create a lot of tension, and it usually blows up in one way or another in a crisis of some dimension.
Do you guys feel we would take some questions from the audience?
Sure.
Okay, so I don't know if you have questions, but I feel like it's time to have a little interactive moment. Also, you can stretch, and because it's been a long. I can't sit this long. I don't know how you guys do it, but do you have a question? Yes.
I have two separate questions. One is you repeatedly referred to this group as a group that believes in God, and I just want to give a voice, come out of the closet to someone who doesn't.
And you're the one.
and I just want to say, I just want to ask you not to use that kind of that kind of assumption about who you're speaking with, but to ask you, can you do this work with someone else?
Absolutely.
I'm amazed.
Absolutely. With my favorite clients. The thing about it is that I was feeling a comfort because Rodger and the group could talk right there about God, but I would never with my clients use that word because it's their dreams and their experience, and I'm not an evangelist of Judaism or any other thing or Jungianism. What I am is anybody who's doing this work should be an advocate for the client on their terms to start with. It's the dreams that lead you out. The dreams know you and how to help you. We don't. So I apologize for assuming that, and there's no problem in being whatever you are when you start the work.
Great. So the second question is, I also thought I was hearing an assumption in your description of anima and animus and coming differently to men and women and some blanket statements. It sounds like you're presuming heterosexuality. And I also thought I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, that you presume that anal intercourse is somehow degrading or inherently a negative thing. So I'd like to...
Okay, first of all, up where I live, we have a lot of a huge gay community, and I have many, many gay clients. And I will say that with women especially, they always, eventually in the work, get together with him. However, it doesn't mean that they give up their sexuality. Their marriages don't fall apart, blah, 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 and nothing changes necessarily. But the animus still, regardless, if you're a woman, that's the process. And it doesn't have to be a political or sexual problem. You might think it would be, but through the way the dream works with the person in this extremely transformational way, you learn the issues are what you think they are, and you come to that. Or you don't. But that's not a problem. You're talking about, when I talk about the issue of anal sex, looking at it in terms of, well, what about homosexuality with men? That's a different story. Now, I wasn't saying that to say that I was against that. I'm not against anything, but in my limited experience with men, who I see much less regarding being gay, in every case, they had violent dreams regarding it. That doesn't mean that's always the case. In every case, in the 40 years I've worked with dreams where there was anal intercourse, and I'm not saying that it always would be the case, but in my experience, it was always, it isn't to say that doing that in the outer world is that way, but in the dream world, it is linked with shame, and the dreamer feels that in every case. Doesn't mean that if you have anal intercourse that you are that it's bad. So we have to link up. I'll give you other examples. What about having sex with your son or your daughter in a dream? Well, that could be good. In a dream. In the dream world, that actually the way the soul comes to you. We're horrified when it happens. but it often is a good thing. So the whole moral, political, ethical world that we live in, and the dream world, it's different. It's a different reality, and the political issues don't necessarily. So when I say these things, I know it hits some political things. Like I would never want to say to the audience, but it's true. So many people have dreams where they have sex with their kids. It's a good thing, and yeah, we would never go out and do that. So you don't converse back and forth in that way. They're separate. And obviously, a pedophile would not have a dream like that. That would be good. I'm talking about moral people, because it's never good to violate a person like that because they're destroyed by it. But in dreams, it's a different world. So if I can answer your question.
Back there.
Are all of our dreams about the same thing? Do we have one core issue that gets manifested in different dreams and gets played out and it's the same theme? Or do different dreams represent different things? Or is one thing trying to get out?
Depends where you are in the work. Basically, you work one thing, then there's another thing, and another thing. Until you're whole. The battle plan is different for each person. The battle plan doesn't come from the analyst, it comes from the dreams. And sometimes we're having to face multiple different ways of approaching that person. And sometimes it's one thing, boom, every day. So it's like, well, I can be a teacher or equipping or good luck. But no sooner than you work on one piece, then there's three others, so it's complicated. It's different from person to person, and even in terms of your own work, it can change.
So also, you may deal with one issue in the beginning, and then move on to something else, and years later, the original issue emerges at a deeper level.
Again.
And again, and then maybe again. So it's like going back, but in a way reflecting your increased capacity to experience that issue.
Or deal with it.
Or deal with it.
And in the end, at the time you're going through it, sometimes it's like, well, I did that, or whatever.
Haven't I done this before?
But there's this incredible therapy going on that no human being can do for another. I teach this, I'm so obedient to just doing what the dream says. And over time, great things can happen that are miraculous.
This man in the back is.
Yeah, thank you very much for pointing out the role of the animus between men and women, and how therapists and teachers can sometimes get caught in that. I just wanted to, it seemed to me a very important point. Also, in light of the fact that the two worlds, the worlds of our reality and the worlds of dreams are so different, that people can often get confused, apparently. You see that happen so often, and with such terrible consequences.
Right.
So, just for that one point, I really thank you very much. I've been kind of wondering about that and trying to feel my way through. I know it's wrong, but why, or what's going on there, the difference between men and women students, and thank you very much for that. It's a very valuable insight. Well, thank you.
Yes?
I realize that there are lots of people who deal with forms of post-traumatic stress disorder, but I'm very aware that a lot of people are coming back from the lab who are affected by that. And I was wondering if you would touch on it.
I work from some Vietnam vets.
This is a question about post-traumatic stress disorder and returning Iraq veterans.
People that are traumatized as a child, in a normal sense of that, difficult parents, this or that. Problems in war, quite honestly, can destroy a person. I don't know to what degree a person can come back from that. War is terrible, and what you experience in war, and we're fragile. And in one case, there was this, of course, he had nightmares, and he couldn't